Hey guys, so as most of you all know, I ended up letting my social media friends go and pick my whole entire vacation. If you don't know the background to it, pretty much what happened was recently there has been a lot of like chaotic things that have been happening in my life, and so I was like, okay, if I get my work done, if I clean up my whole entire house, if I clean out my car, then I can go on a vacation. So what ended up happening was, since I got everything all situated, I finally finished doing my work, I dropped off the USB, I ended up going and posting on social media and was like, hey, where would be a good place to go? What should I do? Give me anything and everything that you could tell me about this location, whatever you guys choose, and like I'll kind of read through everything and pick the spot that I wanted to go to. Now, the most recommended place was Rhode Island. Now, being from Massachusetts, it's only like a 2-hour ride, which I really didn't think that it was like that bad. Actually going there was a lot quicker than coming back. Or at least it felt like it. Obviously, you know, it's no matter what, it's 2 hours, but it felt a lot quicker, so that was kind of cool, because I was just really excited to go on vacation. I ended up staying for 2 nights and 3 days, or it was kind of, I didn't stay for like the whole entire day, but essentially what had happened was everybody was like, hey, you should go to Rhode Island, you should go see this zoo, you know, kind of find like a hotel, this, that, and third. So what had happened was I ended up deciding to go to Providence, Rhode Island, on my first day there. So, backtrack. I had ended up writing out a whole list of things to do, and I had like my whole days planned. Like, this is what was gonna happen, like then this, then this, then this is where I'm gonna eat, this is what I'm gonna do, so on and so forth. Now, what I realized is that I was way in over my head, because I have never been to Providence. I never knew that it was like a big city type of thing, and I am not a city girl. Oh my gosh. So that was like a big surprise for me. Initially what I had wanted to do was go like get to the hotel. I knew that I was gonna get there at like around like 4 or 5 or so. So I was gonna get to the hotel, I was gonna walk around town, I was gonna go out to dinner, go swimming, and then, you know, hang out in my hotel and like go to bed. And the next day I was gonna go to the zoo, go walk around the mall, and like go shopping, and then go swimming again, and then hang out in my hotel and like go to dinner later on. None of that ended up, well, not none of it, a lot of that didn't end up happening as planned. So when I got to Providence, I realized that it was a lot bigger of a city, and I was like, this is scary. I'm not the type of person to really get intimidated by those types of things. Like, I adjust really well to my surroundings, but Providence, being by myself, being with my child, it was just not something that I really wanted to walk around in. So I stayed at, and like now it's fine to say because I'm not even there anymore, so whatever. So I ended up staying at the Graduate Providence of Rhode Island, or like the Graduate, yeah, the Graduate Hotel in Providence. I think that's what it's called. And originally it's a $250 hotel. It has a kitchen. In my room there's like a living room type of thing, and then in the other room is 2 beds and a TV. And I posted some videos on TikTok, so if you haven't seen those, then you should go check out those. But so what had happened was I went there, gorgeous hotel, and then I went to go across the street and kind of like go walk around the little area that's out there, and it's just this little like kind of circle thing. It kind of reminds me of Boston, honestly, so I thought that was really cool, but it was just intimidating. The whole area smelled like piss, and I was just like, no. So I ended up trying to figure out where a good spot to eat was, and kind of just figured out my things from there. I ended up going back to my hotel, having to wait around for an hour until the restaurant opened, which that was fine. And I ended up eating food and then just going back to my hotel because I was like, okay, I don't want to be walking around here by myself. So that ended up happening. I found out that the hotel itself, it tells you that it has all these like things to do and stuff. They do have a spa, but because I had my kid with me, I wasn't able to utilize it. They don't do the spa services inside of rooms. It's inside of like another room that's downstairs on the first floor. So that kind of was a bummer, because I would have loved to pay extra and like do that or whatever, but that just wasn't an option. But I was under the impression that they had a pool, and I thought that would be really nice for like me and my kid to go swimming, and they don't have one in that hotel. And so I thought that was kind of a bummer, because on their site it said that they do have it, but at that hotel they don't. I guess it was talking about other hotels with the same name, like the other locations of it, but they didn't specify it. They specified with like certain other things that it'd be like this location, but they didn't specify with that whether it was in that location or not, so that kind of wasn't clear, and that kind of sucked. Another thing that kind of really bummed me out about, or not even bummed me out, but like it was scary. So at the hotel, it's $250 a night. I ended up getting a deal on it, so I ended up paying a lot less. But in the hotel, in ordering to like park, you have to pay $25 per night or like per day to park, and then you can hook up your card to the your room, so like your room to your spot pretty much, and then they'll just bill it to you, like they'll bill it to your room. So there's an additional $25 parking fee for that on top of a $250 hotel. That kind of sucked. They're definitely like taking your money in that sense. And their cafe also, you have to pay. You get little free coffee and tea coins, but I'm kind of digressing right now. So going back to the whole parking garage, on Saturday my fans sent me to the zoo because they thought that it would be a good thing for my daughter, which it is. I 100% recommend that zoo. That zoo was like the highlight of my vacation. But when I was on my way back, there was this man, and he stopped in the middle of the road, okay? Like straight up, like busy, like think of like New York or Boston or, you know, Nashville, Tennessee, like think of all these busy places. That is exactly what Providence is. Now, I didn't know that. Like I tried looking into it, but it was so last minute that I really like didn't look into it that much, or at least not as thoroughly as I should have looking back on it. But so this man stopped in the middle of the road and screamed profanities. Now, I understand doing it once, maybe twice. Maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe, you know, maybe there's something going on, like, neurologically. Like, I'm not the one to judge. Like, that's fine. Like, you know, everybody has their thing. And I still don't know, like, what was going on with this dude. I don't know why he was screaming. I don't know why this happened. But, so he stopped in the middle of the road, screamed as loud as he could, kept walking across the street, and then from, like, right here to right here with my car, I mean, thankfully I was in my car, but so in my car, with the windows rolled down, he stops, looks at me, does it again, and just like full force just screams at the top of his lungs, like profanity. My kids started crying. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, I have to walk back to my like hotel because it's across the street. I'm like, what is going on here? Oh my goodness. So then I ended up going into the parking garage. I had to go up to the 4th floor because there's just so many people parking there. and I heard him again and again and again, and I would keep hearing it getting like lower and lower and lower, so I knew that he was like walking away, but I was like, what is going on, dude? So like I started crying. I was freaking the F out. Like, I didn't know what was going on. And it scared me, being alone in a big city that I don't know. You know, I have my kid with me. Like, I'm not the most built person. It was so intimidating. I ended up calling my family, was like, somebody stay on the phone with me. You know, like, somebody help me. I'm in this big city alone. Like, this is such a bad idea. I had been coming back from the mall, which the whole mall situation was like, it was a cluster in itself, and then for that to happen, it was just like the icing on top of the cake. I was like, I need to go back inside my room and I just need to take a nap and I need to relax, and this is just the worst day of my life. And so that's exactly what I did. With the mall, it's a really cool mall if you know how to navigate it, but I didn't know how to navigate it, so I ended up getting lost in there for like a solid hour, and I was just trying to go back home. That's all I was trying to do. I was just trying to like go shopping, you know, spend a stupid amount of money on stuff, and then go back home. But that's not how it worked. I went into like 2 stores, and then I was like, I'm done. Like, I just want to go home now. And then of course on my way back home, that whole parking garage situation ended up happening, and I was just like, dude, like, what the H? So I ended up doing that. Later on that night, I ended up going out to dinner at about 6 o'clock. It was a 40-minute wait. I can't think of the place that I went to. I'll have to link it below once when I like remember the name. But they have phenomenal food. Originally it was a 40-minute wait. The only thing that sucked about that place was that it was on such a small but busy road, that like there was parking straight up like down the street. You had to pay $20 to park at like different places or whatever that rented out their spots. So that kind of sucked. I didn't have any extra cash because I had used it at the zoo, and I didn't stop and get more because I, like I said, I didn't know about this area. This was just something that somebody had recommended to me, and I never really got like a heads up about it. So I ended up using Cash App. Thankfully, the person that I met accepted Cash App through it. But it was actually really nice. So my Cash App stopped working, or like wasn't working the right way. And so the guy was just like, yeah, you know, it's pouring outside right now. Like, you can just pay when you come back. And I was like, oh, you sure? And he's like, yeah, go have fun. Like, go get your kids some dinner. I was like, thank you so much. You know, off on my way. So that was really cool. That he like trusted me enough to just be like, have at it, go have fun. And then I went to my hotel, or not my hotel, I went to the restaurant, and it was originally a 40-minute wait. These waiters and waitresses were so nice. Like, they were just chatting with me, you know. They were super respectful. Like, they were very like quick and everything. And I waited for about 15 minutes, and they ended up going and setting up a whole other table for me and my kid. And I thought that was so nice. They were like, you know, it's getting pretty late. You seem like you're really, you know, having an issue right now. Like, why don't we kind of help move this along for you? And they literally set up a whole like specific table. I was next in line anyway. It was just gonna be like a longer wait. But I thought that was really cool. So that was probably like the turnaround point. Like, Saturday I went to the zoo. It was really good. It started off really good, but then I went to the mall. The mall was bad. The whole experience with that guy going crazy in the middle of the road, that was bad. And then I went out to dinner, and that was awesome. Like, that really, it was the turning point. Later on that night though, there was a couple. Now, on the 3rd floor, there is this balcony that you can go and sit out of, which is amazing. Oh my gosh, it was breathtaking. But there was this couple and they were arguing, and I'm not going to go and put them on blast for everything that they had said, but their argument had kind of escalated a little bit, and I ended up having to take it upon myself to go and be like, hey, there's people arguing on the balcony, there's other people outside trying to enjoy their night, you know, it's midnight, these two people are saying some really extreme things to each other and about one another, and one of them took things a little too far. So once when that happened, about an hour into their argument, I was like, all right, like, I need to do something about this, because everybody else is like not doing anything about it. So that was another like bad thing, and that's not the hotel's fault. They actually handled it pretty well. So I thought that was cool, because it was nice to see that they were trying to make all of their guests feel welcome and comfortable and safe. So I do really appreciate the Graduate for stepping in, having security go and check on the couple. So that was good. The one thing that I will say bad about the hotel is the elevator wasn't really working correctly. You had to scan the card multiple times. It would bring you to separate floors randomly. It was a really weird thing, but not only that, there was one dude in particular who I wanted to go and look for things to do around town, because once when I realized there was no pool, there was nothing to do, there wasn't any safe area to kind of walk around with my kid with, or like in or whatever, I realized that, okay, like, I want to find something to do. I want to make the most out of my trip. I want to go and see new things. Now, I ended up going and trying to talk to one of the front desk people, and he kind of looked at me and was like, hi, like, can I help you? How are you? He started off really nice, but like the more that I started asking him questions, the more that he was like kind of getting short-tempered, and this was only like a couple-minute conversation, so it wasn't like I was sitting there like nagging at him, you know. But he was kind of like, he was rude. Like, essentially, like, he was rude. He didn't really, I don't think that he really thought that I was a guest, until I mentioned that I needed another like in and out card for the garage. It was kind of just straightforward. I was like, hey, like, what is there to do around here? Do you offer this type of service for the spa? Like, do you guys have a pool? You know, like this, that, and the third. Like, this was kind of like, I was just trying to figure out like the hotel, you know. I had only been there for a little while at that point. And he was just rude, man. Like, he was just rude, and then his attitude ended up changing when I had said that I needed another in-and-out card. So I don't know if he just thought that I was like a random person off the street, like asking about their hotel and like potentially staying there. But like, regardless or not, if you're the face, if like you're the front desk, like face of the business, whether or not I'm a person that came off the street and like is coming in and asking about a hotel room, or whether or not I'm a person that's staying there already and asking about things to do, like, I thought it was really unprofessional that like he treated me the way that he did at first. Maybe it was just like a misunderstanding. Maybe he just like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know what was going on with that one. But that kind of wasn't appreciated in like my book. I mean, granted, like, I got the hotel for like a discounted price or whatever, but it's just, there was something that rubbed me the wrong way in that situation. So I don't know. It wasn't the best. I do recommend the hotel though. I do recommend going and staying there. I would personally say that if you are going there by yourself, or if you're going there with like a group of adults, I feel like the hotel would be a lot better. But if you're traveling with young kids, or if like you're traveling with your family with young kids, maybe it's not the best hotel to stay at. But you know, if you're not traveling like by yourself with like smaller kids, so maybe if it's like, you know, 6 years and above, like I feel like you would have a lot better experience, or at least a lot better of an experience than I did. Like I said, some of the things that like I had named, like it's not really the hotel's fault, so I'm not gonna like penalize them for that, but there were just certain things that I was kind of like, okay, like either I should have looked into this hotel and like this experience a little bit better and not have planned it within a day and a half, or like maybe they need to like change some things on their site, that way things are a little bit more clear, because when you go on their site, it's their site, but then like if you click certain things, it brings you to separate pages, and so you never know, like, is this page for like a different hotel, is this just like a for this location, is this for like all of the locations, like what's kind of going on with it. So I don't know, I definitely do recommend the hotel, but my personal experience, the first day was pretty good, the second day started off really good, and then it ended up kind of spiraling downhill. Like I said, all I really did was wake up, go get some breakfast at the cafe. The cafe was all right. You did have to pay extra for things that like weren't coffee or tea. And then I went to the zoo, went back, got some lunch. That whole experience happened with the mall trip and everything. And then I went out to dinner later on. On the next day, so what, that was on Saturday, so it was like the next day, so it was on Saturday, I ended up, their checkout time is at 11, so I think I ended up leaving at like 9, or maybe it was like 10 or something like that, but I ended up just taking my kid and we went to the beach for the day. We ended up going over to Misquamicut, and that was a really nice area. I love going there. I think it's a lot better than like other oceans around here, just because I feel like the other ones are more packed. So I really like going to Misquamicut, so I ended up doing that, ended up having a really nice lunch and coming home, and I think I was home around like 3, like 2 or 3 maybe. So yeah, I don't know, it was a overall good experience, but there were a few things that I just didn't appreciate. There were a few things that were just super uncomfortable, and I just don't think I will be going to Providence by myself again. Obviously traveling by yourself is always a little intimidating, but there are some areas around that, you know, make you feel a little more at home than you would. But like I said, I think that might have just been my error. I think I should have been better about planning. So that's it for my experience. That's it for today, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. It seems like it is still raining out, so hopefully you guys stay dry and stay warm and have a good rest of your Monday.